Welcome to the Play Your Skills webinar. This is a webinar about the third intellectual output, the guidelines for vet staff. So this is the third intellectual output of the project. The leader is Consorzio Coeso, which is also partner of this project. And this product is a document, is around 40 pages, downloadable from the project website, from the Play Your Skills project website, in all partner languages. So we have it in English, in Portuguese, in German, in Italian, and in Spanish. And during the development phase, we realized that it was also necessary to have a short version of this guideline. So we produced a new document, which is a shorter version, which includes only the user manual. And this is also downloadable from the project website. The Play Your Skills Guidelines for Vet Staff is a comprehensive and explanatory user manual addressed to vet staff. But who is vet staff? So vet staff is mainly composed by trainers, consultants, career counselors, job coaches, educators, and several people working in the labor market services. All these people wishing to use the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app in their professional work with needs. Okay, now we are going to see which are the main aims of these guidelines. So they are mainly used to help vet staff to understand the background of the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app, which is the second intellectual output of Play Your Skills project, to use the data developed by the app users and communicate with them to provide them feedback and suggestions on how to develop their competencies, to make use of the pop-up promotional videos in the app, and to deduct improvement potential for their own vet programs based on the data produced by the app about competences, needs, and requirements of the target group. So these are all the aims that we want to achieve through these guidelines. Well, these guidelines are referred to the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app that we said is the second intellectual output of the project. So let's do a step backward. What is the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app? It's a unique gaming app which is addressed at needs, young people not in education, employment, or training courses. And this app allows them to discover aspects of their competencies, skills, and personal interests through a gamified approach, and it provides also information about education institution, labor market services, and other means of support for helping in re-enter the vet system. It is downloadable from the Google App Store and from the Apple App Store, and it's available in all partner languages. From the perspective of the vet staff or the mentors who use this app, it's useful because they can support their young mentees in identifying and training the useful skills for the labor market. And also this app can be useful to motivate needs in learning or in attending a vet program. And at last to get them in touch with the vet system. So, coming again back to the guideline for vet staff. In this slide we are showing you the index of this document. As you can see, we have at first the introduction about these guidelines, where we include also the aims. In chapter 2, we have a project overview, and so we have project idea and aims and objectives and results of the Player Skills project. In chapter 3, we discuss more about the target group of the project, so the needs, who are needs, and we define them and their background, and also we provide some additional information about their motivation in learning. In chapter 4, we have an overview of the first intellectual output of the project, the research study. We provide an overview and some deductions which have been made for the development of the mobile gaming app. Then the next chapters, we are going to see them more in details in the next slides, because they are the most important parts of this guideline. But what is important to state now is that in these guidelines we also include some case studies in chapter 7 coming from the piloting phase of the usage of the app with needs. And in chapter 9 we also include some recommendations, very brief recommendations and suggestions for the trainers who are going to use our document and our app. So, as we said, chapter 5 is one of the most useful chapters for vet staff. In chapter 5.1, you can have an overview of the Player Skills mobile gaming app, and here we introduce the users at mobile gaming and how this field has been developed in the last 15 years, from the first mobile games for smartphones to actual games with augmented reality. And also we provide an overview of online education, existing online education, and auto analytics. If we keep into consideration the chapter 5.2, we have the chapter 5.2.1, which is also very important for the vet staff, is the identification of competencies trained in the mobile gaming app. And in fact, in this chapter, the vet staff can find a table where we have detailed information about each game and the competences which are developed and trained through the game. For example, if we keep the game blocks, the competence that we have is spatial awareness. The specific skills trained in the game, in the blocks game, can be, for example, attention, and the learning outcomes is you improve your attention and focus skills. Or, for example, if we take another example of visual spatial abilities, which is also another skill trained through blocks, the learning outcome is you improve your ability to identify visual and spatial relationship among objects. In the chapter 5.2.2, we provide a deep analysis of the different vet professional fields that we identified during the project and how these professional fields are related to some competencies trained in the game. And in this chapter, so we can have competence. If we keep again, for example, the game blocks with a spatial awareness, we can have bricklayer as professional field, and the description related to bricklayer is building walls, renovation work. If we keep, for example, the professional field of carpenter, also related to the spatial awareness competences trained through the blocks game, his description is working according to sketches. So this paragraph is also very important for vet staff because it can give them an overview of the competences trained in the games and how they can be related to vet professional fields. And in this way, they can provide this information to their needs, to their clients. It is also important to say that this useful information are available not only in the guidelines in chapter 5, but they are also available in the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app in the more information headings of the settings section and also in the project website. And here we show you the links where you can find them, the direct links where you can find them. And in this way, this material can be consulted by vet staff, but also by needs. Chapter 6, How to use the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app, is the most important one of the guidelines. And in this chapter, we also include a lot of screenshots coming from the app to describe it and to show it how to use. It's in fact the main part of the guidelines, and we can consider it as really the user manual. It offers detailed instructions on how to register, and for example, when you have to register, you have to choose an adjective, a name and a number, or a random user. To access the app, to use the app, for example, the dashboard, the settings and the rank lists, and how to play with each minigame. It also offers instructions on how to share the results that you achieved in each game with your friends and mentors. And this is very, very important. We are going to see it later. It offers instructions also on how to use communication or pop-up windows and information about the rewarding system through the pages, because as you saw from the previous web, we have 7 pages and they are linked to 3 different categories of pages. And at last, how to use proportional videos. As we said, through the pop-up windows, the users can have information on how to use the app and the games. And in the guidelines, we provide, for example, an example on how to use the game blocks. This pop-up window that we include through the screenshot in the guidelines says, order the following pieces so that they form lines without any holes. Full lines will disappear. Form as many lines as you can without any pieces touching to the top. You should press the right part of your screen to move the pieces to the right and the left part of your screen to move it to the left. On the bottom, you have a button to rotate the piece and another to bring it down quickly. You need to do a scroll down to have access to the lower buttons. In chapter 6.7, which is working with needs based on the results achieved in the mobile gaming app, vet staff can have different tips on how to use the results achieved by the needs using the mini games in the app, because as we saw, the needs can have a sort of small chart which includes the results that they achieved in each game, and this chart can be used by mentors to increase, for example, motivation of the needs and their self-confidence, because needs can see the progresses that they have made in a game, and they can be motivated to not only to use the app, but really to improve and to be trained in a competence. It's also useful to identifying strengths. For example, if a young person sees that he is good in playing Odd One, which is a literacy game, the need can understand that he is good with the literacy skills. And in this way, the mentor can create a new narrative which is better for the well-being of the young person, because we still motivate and increase the self-esteem of the person. So in general, using the app to work with needs in their personal integration plan. In this chapter, we have also some additional material for vet staff that they can consult in support of their work with needs. It's information about vocational education and training paths in all partner countries, and we included the link of the Players Kids website where they can also find this information, and also the list of the different competencies that NEET can acquire through the games and how they are related to different professional vet fields. It's actually the same kind of information that vet staff can also find in chapter 5, but as it is important to work with needs, we decided to include it also in this chapter. And of course, all of this information are still available in our project partner languages. In the guidelines, we also provide additional tools that mentors may use with their young clients in order to identify their skills and competencies. These tools can be used in addition to the Play Your Skills app as part of the personal integration plan for the development of competencies. And of course, these tools are complementary to the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app. Of course, they are just some examples, and mentors can also find additional tools and materials they can use in their work. But here we identified, for example, the Knack app, which is also a gaming app which can complement the Play Your Skills mobile gaming app. Through a gamified approach, needs can also learn different competencies that they have, and they can be trained in different competencies. Here you can see the link of the website to connect to the Knack app. And also another important tool is the Wheel of Competences. And this is very useful for mentors to see how their clients progress in a specific skill. In the wheel, you have the different competencies written with labels external to the wheel, and in the radiant you have the different levels, and in this way, for example, the first time you meet the young person, he chooses that, for example, he has this skill at the 10%, but then in the second or in the third meeting, he can choose to have it at the 20%, for example. So you can see how the person improves. One of the last sections of the guidelines includes some short recommendations for mentors and vet staff in general on how to use gamified approaches and game-based learning approaches in their work with the young people. For example, suggestions that we provide is incorporating games, gamification, or game-based learning into your daily work with needs doesn't require a big shift in your way of working. Many active learn strategies that you already use likely contain some game elements, and with some slight modifications, they can be modified into even more effective tools. So we can say that the potential usage of this guideline is to support mentors, career counselors, job coaches, etc. in their work with needs. And how this support arrives. It arrives, we can say, in 6 different areas. The first one is offering a comprehensive overview on how to use the Play Your Skills app, which is chapter 6, as we saw, motivates needs and increase their self-confidence in learning or in a vet career, which was the chapter 6.7, help in identifying skills and competence of needs, and provide information about vocational education and training paths in all project partner country, which is the chapter 5, as well as connect different vet professional fields with the skills need can improve through the app. And at last, the guidelines provide additional tools to use in personal integration plan for the development of competencies. So in these 6 areas, vet staff, mainly mentors, can receive support to work with their young clients. We hope you enjoyed this webinar about our third intellectual output of Play Your Skills. And of course, if you want to know more about the guidelines or the project in general, you can email us at contact@playyourskills.eu, or you can contact us through our Facebook page. Thank you.